Call the meeting to order. Roll call. Chairperson Renee Wells here. Vice Chair John Hughes absent. Commissioners Eric Martin. Here. Andres Rodriguez.
Present.
Sean Herrera.
Present.
And Airport Director, Executive Secretary Jeff.
Here.
Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Verification of agenda posting. The agenda for the regular Airport Advisory Commission of the City of Hollister meeting of August 28th, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at City Hall on August 23rd, 2024 at 10 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2. We have a staff introduction.
It is my pleasure to call up Gabriel Martinez, our newest addition to the maintenance group here at the airport. So, Gabe, if you'd like to come up and give us a little self-introduction.
And is this a full-time position?
It is a full-time position.
Perfect.
Hello.
Welcome, Gabe.
Thank you. Hello. Well, my name is Gabriel Martinez. I am the Hollister Municipal Airport Maintenance Worker. I have been working with the City of Hollister since March of this year. I started off with the Parks and Recreation Department, and I recently got the full-time job for the airport. And I've been living with the City of Hollister for about 10 years now. And now I am grateful to be a part of this team now.
And I would just add to that we were impressed with Gabe as he helped us with Parks and Rec, and in that role he came out and he helped us set up for the 4th of July event. So he's a contributor to the success of that piece, and super excited to have him join us full time.
Great.
So.
Welcome.
Welcome, Gabe. Excuse me. Do we have any public input for tonight? These are to speak on any item that is not on the agenda. And if you want to speak on an item that's not on the agenda, you need to fill out one of the yellow little cards and bring it over here to Katie. Do we have any public comment?
We do. Fred Meyer, you're the first one. And I also have a document that I'm going to pass out for him.
Okay. Hey, my name is Fred Meyer. I've been renting hangar. I rented hangar 13G from 2001 to 21. That's 20 years. And I worked on the commission for about 15 years as an airport commissioner. And I'm the treasurer of the EA chapter in California. And the reason I'm here tonight is I heard something about the airport might be operating in the red, and I don't understand how that can happen. Let me go back a little bit here. I have a handout that I gave out. Do people have it?
Yes, we've all been given it.
You do have it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Mike Chalmers, he was the airport director from 2008 to 2018, and during that time the airport was well in the green. In addition to be able to, we set up funds for matching funds for FAA grants, airport and building improvements, ACIPs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And at that time, we had enough funds to do all these things on the present rents. Now below there I have summarized some of the rents that I understand that the hangar rent now is about $473 a month, something like that. And that's 0.473 cents per square foot. That's how it's calculated. And I just have the T hangar rents here and the two executive hangars estimated cost, and the total income from those for the year is at $542,747 approximately. Now, in addition to those rents, the following rents went to the airport after the leases expired, probably between 6 and 3 years ago or something like that. And one of them is the Hugh Bickle complex hangars and offices. And that income went to the airport fund, and that should be a very significant amount of money. And then the Jerry Gabe large hangar that's a corporate hangar. That was turned over to the city when the lease ran out. And then there's also, I'm not sure, the new Sal Rubino huge hangar. I'm not familiar with what the rent, if that's bringing the rent or what the deal is on that, but it's a huge hangar. And then I don't have the other business rents, the Zero, and I'm not familiar, I haven't been out to the airport that much lately, but there's probably a lot of other rents, and I just I don't understand how the airport can be operating in the red, so I'm trying to just help you with some input, okay? And I guess that's about it. I have my name and telephone number, email address. If you want to call me up and ask me any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. You have any questions now? No? Thanks.
I don't, are
Have
we
you-
allowed to ask questions?
Pardon?
I don't recommend back and forth with the public speaker.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Fred.
If there is a question that you would like answered that staff could answer, it would be appropriate to ask staff that question.
May I ask, Jeff, if it's open to the public to receive copies of the budget? And what the increases were and what the current budget is for this fiscal year?
I believe that the city will be publishing the budget for public availability. We also gave the commission a review back in May, you may remember, so the commission should be well versed on the budgetary situation of the airport. And if individuals, members of the public have concerns, they're always welcome to come schedule a meeting with me, and I'm happy to review the budget with them, so.
Thank you.
Couldn't hear Jeff.
Repeat what you just said.
Sure. Or am I coming through a little better?
A little louder, maybe
Okay.
closer to the mic.
I was saying that the council, the commission received a budget overview back in May, so the commission should understand the position of the airport going into the budget. The city is preparing a public document where you could view the airport budget, is my understanding, and if you have any detailed questions, such as the speaker, I would be happy to schedule a meeting and meet with that person one-on-one to discuss the budget. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Do we have any more public input?
We have Mark Starrett.
Good evening. My name is Mark Starrett. When I was a little kid, my brother and I were always given a set of chores my dad wanted us to get completed. And being the younger brother, I got mine done first because I had to show the big brother how to do it. But bless his heart, he had to be asked 10 times to get those chores completed. So when he finally did get them completed, nobody appreciated it. It was like, yeah, thank you, finally, got done. So that brings me to the EAA building. Okay, when it finally got cleaned up, which it should have been, it's been almost, 2 years? And it's been almost a year since Jeff's been here that they finally got that mediation work done. I've done mediation work it's not that difficult, and it should have been something that 1 or 2 months of getting that accomplished. But, so now it is accomplished, that's great. Thanks for getting it done, but I don't really appreciate it now. It's too late. So that brings me to every day as I come into the airport, the Seabreeze is right there, I'd see all these weeds. Yesterday, they cut them down. Well, thank you. But it was bugging me for months. I almost got my own weed whacker out there to take care of it. A couple other subjects. Black Hawk wants to relocate again at the across from the hangars where I'm located. And when they did their original demonstration, they did a great demonstration how they were not going to disrupt anything or anything like that. They did not comply with what they promised. They are now going to go in there and pour a concrete pad sometime in October. And I'd like the city council, I'd like the airport commission to discuss that with the city council and see if we can keep them where they are. When I objected to it, there was only one place in the entire airport that they could be, and that was that location, the temporary location they were in. Well, now that they couldn't be there, they found another location. I like this. I think it's less disruptive to everybody on the airport if they stay over there. And there's a million reasons for them to do that. And if I'd like to have a greater discussion, and I think it'd be great if you could go to the city council and bring that up, because when a disaster does happen, and it probably will, you can always say, "I told you so." Those are always good. I told you so. A number of times we wanted to bring up hangar rents on the commission, but we weren't allowed. Shamlis always said, you can't do that. It's you're part of the process, and that's it's a no. Stay away from that thing. But I'd like to get it into a real discussion of it. A lot of people don't know what originally happened out there early in the when they built the new hangars on the west side. They couldn't rent them, and so what they did is they decided, okay, they couldn't get the price they wanted, so we're going to increase the rent on the west side and reduce the rent on the east side. So my hangar basically tripled all at one time, okay, so they could get the other hangars rented. Mike Shamlis always said we weren't charging enough money, because if we were charging too much money, we wouldn't have a waiting list. Actually, our waiting list is pretty short based on the fear everyone has about Reed Hillview closing. Jeff wants to do a study on it. Originally, this was done with a survey, and I'd like to request a little more time, if I may. She said I could.
Chair
She
Wells,
said I could request.
It's at your discretion whether you offer the speaker more time. If you do so, you'll be required to provide every public speaker the same amount of time.
There's nobody left.
I think, how about one more minute?
I'll go with one more minute. Okay, thank you. So I've done my own survey, and that's how our rents became where they are. It was Shamlis had done a survey, and he's very well respected by other airport managers for jacking our rents up, because they're all trying to do the same thing. I pay $220 for a hangar in Salinas, which was much better than what I'm paying, the hangar I have here, and that I'm paying, by the time you figure property tax and everything, $500 a month. So I'd like to have a review. I don't see why we have to wait for a special report. I think we can, it was good enough to raise the rent on us the first time just by doing a quick survey. But I think the process should be started. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And I do believe a lot of your questions and concerns are going to be addressed in the airport director's report this evening. Is there any more public input?
Ruth Erickson? Okay.
You can always have input after his report. Any more public input? Okay. Excuse me. Do I have a motion by one of the commissioners to approve the consent item? Do I need to have public input or just?
Yes, you do.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. That's new. Okay. Do I have any public input on the consent item to approve the minutes of the last Airport Commission meeting on May 22nd, 2024? Now I will take a motion to approve the consent item for the minutes of the Airport Commission meeting.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we'll move on to commission business, and we have 2 items there, and I'll let the airport director provide information on those.
So, recently the airport has been meeting with the company Zero Avia, which is involved in green technology and producing like hydrogen power plants and working on specific aircraft with said power plants to operate on hydrogen and prove to FAA that they can be certificated. So along those pursuits, we've been meeting with Zero Avia and looking at some of their needs, and they've asked to expand their presence at the airport, which is a good thing for us as a revenue generating opportunity. Specifically to the request here before you tonight is we are going to propose a ground lease at the north end of the aircraft apron. Katie, maybe we could show the more global view there on the monitor. So the more global view is up there on the screen for you.
Is there any way to expand that so it's a little bigger, just for the public?
It's in the handout.
You might be able to
Okay.
go to something
Does everyone
called-
have the handout? If you don't, I think there's copies up here.
You might be able to click on full view if it's up there. So anyway, so currently they operate in the Bickle building in the office in what they call Hangar 1 space. And so this is various pieces of equipment. This is 10,000 square foot. It is surrounded by aircraft movement areas there. It does meet all the requirements for setbacks from those aircraft movement areas. So, and the lease is written in a way that gives some approval authority to the airport management in terms of the equipment, how it's put in the space, how it's oriented due to the sensitivity of being around aircraft movement areas. And we're looking at a 3-year base term with 2 1-year options for extending the lease. And we're looking at about, the rate is $2,300 a month to start. And so it's estimated with the average CPI increase somewhere around 80, check my notes, 80, should be over $85,000 over a 3-year period for the use of this space. So at this point, we would be looking for the commission to make have our discussion, if there's any discussion questions, and then make a motion to make a recommendation, yea or nay.
Is this public comment first?
Mhm.
Can I
Correct. Do we have any public
ask a
comment?
question about it?
Um,
Who's paying for the improvement?
You have to fill out a form and go up
Yeah,
for it.
But I
Could
didn't-
we get you to come up to the
Oh, or
mic
you could
too?
just come up, I guess. Just,
Sure,
you can
I'll
just,
fill it out.
no, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just curious about so the improvement, that land right now, there is a drainage ditch right there on that side of the ramp. So who's paying to fill that? Are you gonna extend the ramp? And is the new tenant, are they gonna cover the cost of all the concrete work and that to extend the ramp? So I mean, $2,300 sounds like a great, but they should be paying for any cost to improve that land. That would be my comment about it, is that doesn't seem like enough for the work that. Okay.
Any other comments?
Nope, just curious if it's a net, black, we're in the black on this deal versus, as Fred pointed out, more things in the red.
Same thing what Phil was saying. Somebody's got to know if they are negotiating are they talking about paying for that cost? You can't have a negotiation if you haven't discussed that. Somebody's got to know that, Jeff. Have they talked about that?
I'm waiting for the chair to direct me to answer questions.
So that's the question. That discussion's already has to have been made. Somebody here already knows the answer to that question. That's what I'm telling you. And if they do that, it would be nice if they extended that on out, and then eventually maybe that could be a run-up area, and then you can enter onto the taxiway there. But, thank you.
Are there any other comments from the public or questions?
Yes. Min is next.
I didn't notice you walked up, you know. I did fill out a card.
That's okay.
Hi, Min Venarder. I've been on the airport for about 30 years at a tenant and an operator, and most of the people here know who I am. I kind of have the airport best interest, in a sense. Love the idea, extending new revenue, love the idea. But I agree with this gentleman right here. Who's going to pay for it? And what vehicle? And as you say somewhere along the way in here that it's going to be, oh, you said it earlier, I didn't write it down, but you have the authority to tell how to park, where to park. Okay, great. And again, is there somewhere in writing for all this stuff? This is the first time I heard of it. Just wondering what's going on. Thank you.
Are there any other public input on this item? Any other? If not, I will turn to the airport director and have him answer some of your questions on that. And also then we'll go to commission questions and comments.
Okay. So first, the site does slope towards the drainage ditch. So there's right up next to the apron, there's probably a 3 to 4 inch difference, and it slopes further away as you get back towards the ditch. And so, yes, there is a planned improvement to bring in some base rock for the 10,000 square feet. And that would be anticipated to be base rock leveled and compacted. And then they are proposing to put a super track pad surface on top of that would be anchored down into the base rock. Again, they are looking to park equipment there that's generally on trailers, and so it's not going to be a permanent cemented surface at this point, and that would be at the expense of the tenant. That was negotiated, and our job here is not to be reviewing the exact documents and going down through each detailed word and how to word those things. So there is an existing lease that has been prepared. And so we're looking at this from a standpoint of airport policy and airport in terms of, you know, do we think this is creating conflicts, those types of things? And it has the potential, respecting the concerns here that both parties raised. Again, I stated that this is an area that is surrounded by aircraft movement area. And so while there is sufficient setback currently for the kinds of aircraft that we have coming in there, you know, if something were to change and we had a much larger aircraft, then we're going to have to modify how the space goes. So, and that's understood going in, and I believe that the lease has the ability for the airport to work with the tenant here in this case, or Olavia, to address those things. Yes.
Is this going to be a secure location?
No.
No, it's going to be open?
Yes.
Okay. So they're just going to store stuff. They're going to pay for the base rock, come in, compact it, put their little super, whatever, mat down,
Mhm.
and they're gonna store things on that 10,000 square feet.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay, if that's the
And-
deal.
And I would add that we did meet with the Jet Center because we wanted to make sure, since they are, they take care of the aircraft parking assignments on the ramp, so we wanted to make sure that it was done with their support. And so, at this point, there's support for that based on the current aircraft that are at the airport.
I have a question, if that's okay with the rest of the commission? Okay, I'm sure we all have some questions. If we're making a recommendation to city council to, are we making the recommendation that they approve this? If we are, I think we really need to see the lease so that we know more about it, and I hate approving something or recommending it if I don't know. I mean, I trust you, but I just feel like if we're recommending something, that we should have a chance to review it in advance. Those are my only thoughts. I worry about what type of equipment is being stored there, and without knowing what's in the agreement, I don't know that we know what that equipment is and how big it is. So those are my concerns.
My only other concern is that if the cleanup, after they're done with the lease, who's gonna clean that up? You've got probably a couple more than a couple tons of base rock out there. And that's not really compatible. I mean, unless you plan on paving it or doing something else with it, are they gonna clean it up and put it back to normal like they found it? Or is it just gonna stay there and then maybe release it to somebody else? Do we know?
I would hope that it would be enough of a solution that could become a usable space. So
Okay, so we don't have to put a clause?
We have multiple tenants, right? Eris down there maintains a field truck, which currently right now goes on the corner of the apron. So, you could actually free up the apron for an aircraft by having, if that surface was there. Relative to the concerns about what type of equipment, it's various trailers, and all the equipment is below 14 feet high. So it does not constitute an obstruction. And again, there is sufficient clearance from the taxiway center lines or the aircraft movement center lines. So
This is a long-term thing, not just a short-term, is what you're saying?
well, it's a three-year
Three-year
base lease.
with an option for 2 more.
Well, I mean, even if they leave, he plans on keeping the base rock and whatnot in place to try to release it, so I'm more concerned about the ramp and how much
Yeah.
area we have in there. If this was a temporary thing, I'd definitely want to see a clause in the lease about cleaning it all up at their cost. But since this is gonna be a long-term thing, I don't think it's necessary, because we could release it to somebody else or similar use.
Commissioner?
Yeah, my question was just, it was before we had the discussion, was as to rephrase it. At the end, at the termination of the lease or the expiration of the lease, will the pad remain as an asset to the airport for additional revenue long-term?
I think it would be an asset of space that we could utilize, because it's gonna be a leveled surface, right? And so it creates some freedom of flexibility there, and one of our challenges is that we are a relatively small ramp currently, so.
Great, thank you. That's what I wanted to make sure that it was going to remain as an asset, and that's, the more assets we have at the airport, the better.
Are there any more comments or questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, the only comment I would have after these questions to get a better understanding there, seeing, the history there of Zero Avia, I believe that they're international, if I'm not mistaken, right? And they do have 3 main offices worldwide, and I think Hollister is one of them. Of the few, I believe 3 or 4. I think my comment would be that moving, forward with this would be great. Just on the state aspect that, or not just state, but nationwide, global aspect, that if we are going to continue on with hydrogen kind of, improvement with aviation, as I've seen in the last 2-3 years, it would be great to continue on that partnership here in Hollister. But then also, I want to have, the professionals in aviation to ask the right questions like the commission has been doing. But after doing, just research and working with Zero Avia with their kind of showing off their jets and their helicopters and really seeing the improvements they're doing with hydrogen, I think that's going to be great for the future of, going green. Thanks.
Any more questions by the commission? Any more comments? Do we want to make a recommendation? Does anyone want to make a motion to recommend this to the city council?
Chairwoman, can I have a follow-up?
Again, it's at your discretion. If you open up public comment again to one speaker, you will need to open it up to all speakers.
Do any other public have any comments besides men?
Just one question. If they're gonna have hydrogen on that pad, that's the only thing we should know about, I think.
Men, do you want to come up very briefly?
Yeah. Quick comment. Just to follow up with the Commissioner Martin comment. So as I understand it, there could be base rock on there. And I understand and Zero Avia going to put a mat on top of that base rock at their cost. Okay. So let's assume that at the end of the lease, they say, I'm done. We out of here. Or they going to take that mat back. Or they leaving it there. That's my comment. If they are taking that back, as a jet operator and maintainer, base rock is not our friend. We didn't even problem. We could talk about FOD. There's a couple of tons of FOD. That's one of the reasons why the helicopter moved the other side, because they put that mat down, put base rock down. It blowed off. We got FOD on the ramp. Just want to know. Thank you.
Well, just look at CAL FIRE's pad right now, what kind of shape it's in. So if they take their mat off, that's what it's like this right now.
Okay, thank you. Going back to the commission, does anyone want to make a motion to bring this forward to the city council?
I'd like to make a motion we bring this to city council for approval.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Do we need to take a roll call vote?
No, a simple vote would be adequate.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes to bring it forward to the city council. Next item is the Kimley Horn contract extension.
Yes, so we are going to, Kimley Horn currently is our consultant, our engineer and planning consultant that supports the, basically the FAA criteria selected consultant to help us through with the airport improvement program grants, as well as the bipartisan infrastructure law grant opportunities. So at this point, we are kind of coming near the end of their typical 5-year contractual time frame. However, a project that was anticipated in that 5-year window is the taxiway Alpha reconstruction project. And so in reaching out to FAA to get a status on our grant award with that. We discussed the fact that they had a preference for Kimley Horn since it was inside their 5-year scope to do the design work for that project. Their familiarity, so they would like us to add an additional year to have Kimley Horn prepare the design for the Taxiway Alpha reconstruction project. And so we would be going to the council as part of submitting a grant application. We basically, it needs to also be a contract for Kimley Horn to do that design work. And then it would be anticipated that they would also provide just their ongoing general engineering and planning support to the airport up until we do complete a consultant selection process. So again, we're just looking for this is going to be an item that we take to the council, and so we're looking for the commission just basically to say yes. So is the commission familiar with the consultant planning role, with what they do? They things like the documents you've had given you in the binders, such as the airport layout plan update, and they helped with the taxiway concepts that I developed for the west side. So other types of roles that they do, in the report out section, we'll cover that we're looking at the preliminary plan set for the new air attack base located on the west side of the airport for the CAL FIRE. So they're helping us with some technical aspects of that review. So again, those are roles that the Kimley Horn plays with support to us in their consultant capacity.
Thank you for that. Do we have any public comment on this item?
Couldn't hear most of it.
Okay.
No public comment? Do we have any questions from the commission?
Yes, are the rates going to remain consistent with their current rates for the extension, or are they going up, are they going down? For as long as the extension goes?
Yeah, I would assume that they probably had a small increase as like a CPI increase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't quite sure, is it a 1-year extension?
Yes.
I do have a question.
Chair Wells, I just want to remind the commission and yourself that this is your meeting, and that it is open to the public, but it's an opportunity for you to do your business. And so I would advise you that to not receive questions from the audience, and also to admonish those that are calling out from the audience.
Thank you for that. Fred, you're always welcome to email the director with your questions, or meet with him. Any more questions or comments from the commission? None? Do I have a motion by the commission to recommend this move forward for a 1-year extension of Kimley Horn's contract as noted by the airport director?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item are staff and commissioner reports. We'll start with the airport director report, and he's going to report on status of airport projects and operations.
Yes, and I would emphasize that this is a combination of bringing the commission up to speed with things that we've been working on since we last met. So, okay. So this is meant to be an operational update of things that have been accomplished or that we're looking at since we've last met. So moving into that, so first item was on June 18th, the city council, we took a through the fence access permit to them, and they approved that item based on contingent review for contingent satisfactory review from FAA, and that was for Whisk Arrow to utilize the through the fence building. So that is my update, and the FAA review is ongoing and in my opinion going well. So that should be wrapping up here soon. We had 2 lease amendments that we did, and again, that was for Whisk Arrow in 2 of their alternate locations located over on the west side of the airport at 90 Skylane Drive and Whisk Weatherly Building. So again, these are good things, positive things for the airport and the revenues. These were 4-year extensions for ongoing use of those spaces. We completed hangar inspections where we did have the fire marshal come out and accompany us in our inspections of the T hangars and all of the buildings. And the fire marshal also took the opportunity to make that the commercial inspection under the fire code for the city. So that was conducted from July 17th through the 19th, so that those were completed. We are currently in the process of mailing out results of those through inspection letters to communicate back to the tenants, and that's expected to be completed by this Friday, actually, on the 30th. So CAL FIRE, the update there is we had a recent meeting regarding their concrete pad, which has been a project that was approved prior to my being here. And it is an extension of the current apron. So that, so we had an on-site meeting, and CAL FIRE has finally worked through their contractual issues and have a contractor that are now ready to come in and do the cement over the base rock, which again would be an improvement to that area. We've been monitoring that area quite a bit because, again, the base rock can be a FOD issue. And so once it is there, that, again, I will emphasize that is an extension of the apron for aircraft parking. That is not going to be an active helipad. So again, technically a helipad is where a helicopter can lift or take off on. That is not what this is supposed to be. So it will be a parking space, and we will move forward from there. Again, I alluded to on the Kimley Horn item, because their contract, one of the services in general services they do for us, we are looking at the CAL FIRE's preliminary design for a site plan of their approximately 16-acre ground lease over on the west side for the new air attack base. And it seems like the state has, kind of dedicated some resource to moving this forward. So we're thrilled that they're wanting to meet, and they're eager. And so the airport has been working through those site plans for some of the technical setbacks and some of the technical issues. So again, I want to emphasize this is preliminary plans, and now that we're at a point where we think we've got the site plan pretty unified based on all the clearances where it needs to be, we anticipate a submittal with the city's planning department. And then going forward, once the city's basically goes through their entitlement process, their review, at the point that they've kind of reviewed it from the city perspective, then we would be sending this off to the FAA review. So the next item is that we have FAA grant opportunities here. So been working with the FAA grant, our bipartisan infrastructure law grant opportunity this year. We went out to We went out to bid. We issued an RFP on July 17th, and that's to move the perimeter fence located on the north side of runway 24. As it goes out from the corner there before the fence line turns north out to San Felipe. So a section of about, I want to say 1,500 feet of fence is going to be relocated to incorporate, make sure that the fence line is outside of the safety area. So again, so the progress is we issued the RFP on July 17th. We closed that RFP at August 8th, and we had 6 responses and 2 were under the engineer's estimate. And the status moving forward is that we are awaiting FAA's authorization to award bids, to give us the authorization to award the bid. On the airport improvement program, again, that is anticipated to be the design work for the taxiway alpha reconstruction. So our taxiway has been identified as a failing grade of pavement, so it's been deteriorated for quite some time. So we're excited to have the project moving forward. So again, we are now awaiting FAA to give us the award of the grant, but we are anticipating that is going to move through. We had completed an independent fee estimate for the airport engineers consultant, the proposal from Kimley Horn to do that. So you get an independent fee analysis to make sure that that we're getting value for the work. And yeah, so now we're waiting for word from FAA. So at any time we could be taking an item forward to the city council on that, because a lot of times FAA wants quick turnaround. We are also working on updating the 5-year airport capital improvement table, or ACIP plan, which would be submitted to the FAA, and then the follow-up of that would be scheduling a meeting for airport management, and typically it's also your engineering and planning consultant would be part of that team. So we would be having a discussion with the ADO's office, the airport district office. We have a whole team that's dedicated to the airport. So we have a planner, engineer, et cetera, that are all dedicated to reviewing Hollister items. So we look to get buy-in on the priority expressed through those 5 years of projects and improvements. So look forward to that opportunity to work with the ADO's office. So then moving on, we're just wanted to, for those of you that might not have been aware, we did hold a July 4th event at the airport. So here's a map rendering of the event. So you can see we did close the runway 24 for a period of time, and we used the north end of the apron. And feedback was that this was well received. It was considered an excellent family event, I think, as expressed by one of our council members. And we filled the parking area pretty well. We estimated that about 4,000 people were in attendance. And again, I want to express my gratitude towards the tenants. We had sent letters out and asked for cooperation and that sort of thing. And the airport tenants were absolutely spot on with cooperation. So again, appreciation to all of you for helping set the bar for a very good event on the airport. For those of you that may be familiar, the DK Turbines building, that's the business that rents one of our buildings, right? So again, here's an example of a building that reverted back to the airport a few years back, and we get the rent from that, but we got a 30-year-old building, and the roof has had a lot of leak issues, so we've been working with trying to get a roofing contractor and come in with a proposal that would be under the $60,000. That is a threshold where we would have to go out to a more formalized bid process. So we worked with collecting several different proposals, but this was the low proposal. This is Bay Quality Roofing out of Watsonville. They started on August 5th, and currently we are anticipating the completion date of the roofing project is today. And that was a $58,000 project, and it's stayed on budget. So, update on the conference room and bathroom there in the Keenan hangars. So we all know that that did take almost well over a year and a half, I believe. But yes, that was recently finally finished. So, and basically from that is the report is that it's finished. We did send out an email on August 19th to tenants that are located in the Keenan hangars that the bathroom is open, and the airport is currently contemplating the future use of the conference room. And so we'd be looking to schedule a meeting to discuss the situation with the Hollister Airmen's Association.
And the EAA.
Yeah, oh, sorry, yes, and the EAA, thank you. So then we have a new system that we just put in place in May. This system allows the airport to actually collect real-time data from aircraft operations based on the ADS-B2 reporting out technology. So this company is called 1200 Aero, so it's 1200.aero.com, I believe. They are very price friendly when comparing similar types of services. And this is a model of a monthly report before you. So August not being quite done, it collects things like the daily operation counts there, and then as it scans through, it collects data as to which runways are used and the different directions. So again, as a airport manager / director, if you're talking with FAA, the more real-time data you have to support positions of various things when it comes to discussions of ACIP projects. And everyone may remember that our chair reported out back a month or two ago that the city council at Watsonville chose to close the crosswind runway, right? Well, so this is an example of a database that allows us to collect the real-time data and store what kind of use our crosswind runway gets. And so we would be able to push back on thoughts of wanting to close that, because we use that runway, for example, just about every day, somewhere between 12 and 1 p.m. Operations shift from runway 31 to runway 24 because the predominant wind pattern. So this second report right here, Katie, can bring up the cumulative for the 3-month period. So we started only 2 weeks in May, but did you have the other report that showed the count for the June, July, and August? It was pretty impressive. So, yeah, so I think the big thing there that I would highlight is that for June, July, and the month of August, which is not complete, we were already at 13,400 operations at the airport. So that gives you an idea of the level of activity that we've been receiving. So that's a very good sign. And and this is a fairly minimal cost throughout for the annual fee on that. I believe we paid somewhere right around less than $4,000 for the service for the year. Next item to update the commission on airport economic impact study, and we talked about issuing an RFP for that. So again, that was a cooperative procurement with the Hollister, Marina, Salinas, and Watsonville airports. And we did issue the MOU, was approved by the city council at the June 18th meeting, and then the RFP was issued on August 15th, and it is available if anybody cares to read the RFP. It's actually on our airport webpage under current projects. So we had, during this time since we last met, we've had 2 incidents at the airport involving aircraft. So we had a one gear up landing, and one biplane flipped over. So just keeping you guys apprised of the fact that we are an active airport and things happen. Not every day is a good day to be a pilot. So those of you that may remember on your airport tour, as we went around the airport complex, we were having a quite lively population of squirrels. And so we moved forward with increasing our wildlife deterrent efforts. And so we entered into a contract with Gavilan Pest Control for a 1-year contract to help suppress the goal. The goal was to suppress the squirrels there at the airport, which then the birds that prey on the squirrels hopefully will be reducing. And so we've been doing that since just before the 4th of July event being held. It was about a week before that we started the initial effort on that. And just in my survey, as I go around the airport, I'm seeing a whole lot less squirrels out there. So it's appearing to be very effective. And that would conclude my operational updates for the commission.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate it. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, we have Ruth Erickson.
Hi, yeah, Ruth Erickson. I'm president of Hollister Airmen's Association. I want to remind anybody that doesn't know, we have been at the airport since 1946 and hope that we can stay at the airport and that our meeting room stays with the organizations, because we do a lot of volunteer work at the airport when we have events, and we need a place to meet, and we need a place to meet in the evenings when people are off work. So that's the first thing. The second thing I had to think about was this. On our agendas here, it shows staff report, public comment, and then commission questions. Is there a chance that we could put public comment after the commission? Because when the commission has comments, we can't comment on your comments. We need to be able to comment on the staff report and the commissioner's report, because otherwise we can't say anything. So is there a chance we could have the public comment after instead of before the commission? That's what I had to say.
Is there any other public comment? No. Okay. Commission. We do have one more. Mark Sterrett.
I just want to make a quick comment about the this Zero Avia's storage area. It just seems strange to me. It's like a warehouse without being a warehouse, and it's just odd. And we got to know what they're putting out there. You know what the product is. If it's hydrogen or whatever it is, that needs to be known. And I'm assuming if it's a warehouse, then they're going to generate all kinds of forklift traffic back and forth across the the ramp there. So there's just a lot of questions that I think need to be looked at before you guys make a decision on that. Thank you.
Rented to the DK Turbines
Okay, I just wasn't
business.
sure if it was
Yes.
called the DK
Mhm.
hangar or not, or if it
I
kept
think,
that
I think
name.
everybody is just knows it as that building for reference, yes.
Right. Okay, so it does have a tenant. Okay, perfect. And are they still paying rent to be there even though the roof has some leaks, or?
Yes, they have been very patiently waiting, yes, and paying their rent.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. And let's see. For the the 1,200 to the public to get on there to look at the information, or can the public or any of the tenants obtain that information on a regular basis if they wanted to?
No, we pay for the access because it is a proprietary database that they build to, and then create all the reports and that kind of function. So it's not the same as like a flight radar type of thing. But I would think well, I don't know,
It's public.
they do design it for supporting the airports, but I'm not sure if they actually support it for individuals.
The data's available publicly already, just in other,
Yeah,
it's not as nice.
in other apps, right? Yeah.
Is the $4,000 for the year, is that per year, or is that an initial fee? And did the contract to do that, was it just for 1 year to see if this is information that we can't get somewhere else, that we want to pay for, or is it something that you're planning to do a long-term agreement?
We entered into a 1-year service agreement for this to see what the data
Program.
collection would be, and it is evolving. So, and again, this is meant to support, particularly at the cost level that it is, it's really meant to help GA airports with the collection of real-time data and being able to use that in your, justification when you talk to FA for grants and those other types of things. So it's very, very crucial. As an airport manager, most GA airports, you would be guessing at how many operations you have. So the ability to collect this information and share it in a very nice, presentable fashion is very good. It has a lot of other functionality beyond just the reporting, but we just wanted to let you guys know that we are using one of these sites and we're collecting valuable data for the airport.
No, I appreciate the data, and I think it was great to be able to visually see that, especially for the public too. So I appreciate that. I just had the question about the cost. And let's see. For the pest control from Gavilan, it's a 1-year agreement. And can you tell me what the cost of that is?
The ongoing service agreement is approximately $25,000 for the year. And again, this is pest control around the entire airport. And so we would be looking to evaluate that at the end of that continued effort to see what the suppression gets us as a result.
Does that,
This might answer your question a little better. Let me help you out. I'm sure you have probably poison going out there. He's planting poison, traps, whatever. And then, those squirrel traps you see by the side of the road? It's like a 3-4 prong approach. We had to use it out at Fraser Lake. $2,000 a month is worth it if it doesn't undermine the runway and the taxiways, by far. So, yeah.
one last question on that. Does this cover pest control within the hangars? If you have a problem with your hangar and you notice that there's rodents, not caused by your refrigerator or food, could you get a box to put outside it, or would we talk to you? Not that I have any problems,
Okay.
but I'm just curious.
Tenants are typically responsible for rodent control or pest control inside of their own hangar space. We have assisted with some investigations as to what might be causing rodents to continue to show up. this is, remember, we have 345 acres, and we were being overrun by squirrels, and that squirrels attract the coyotes and attract birds in there, and so we noticed many times that coyotes got dug in under the fence to chase squirrels and rabbits. So yeah, I think, Eric, I appreciate your perception from the standpoint. So yeah, we're looking at about $1,700 a month was what we looked at, but we had to purchase 80 of the trap boxes, and so those are put out, and so again, the service comes out and they service those 80 at least once a month.
Thank you for that. That's all my questions. Comments? Do we have any other comments or questions from the other commissioners?
I do. On the 1,200 arrow data that we're collecting, is it possible to utilize that data for future application of grants, for grant money, because of the use of the airport?
I certainly think, again, that the usage and where collecting, like which runways are used, et cetera, that does help us in our grant requests.
Great.
Yes.
Any other questions from commissioners or comments? None? Okay. We'll move on to commissioner reports. I don't have a report, except for I just want to say I'm trying to get the EAA chapter back together and the HAA, and I would like to plan a Young Eagles fly-in or Young Eagles event. One time, we have a donation that we received of $5,000, and we would like to put that to use. And I believe Watsonville is willing to come in because they run a program there. We don't really have our own program. And so if anyone wants to take part in that, I'm going to need volunteers. I just want to put that out there. If you're interested, let me know. Thank you. I have to talk to Watsonville first. So I'm just in the initial stages of trying to get that plan. It's a school started, and I think it would really be good to go to the schools and try to get some participation. Thank you. Any?
One comment, Jeff, the pad for the storage pad, we're talking about FOD and whatnot. Maybe we should stipulate what kind of material they use for that pad. Maybe bring in the base rock, but have them cap it with asphalt or something that's not gonna produce a lot of FOD in the area. They can still put their mat down over the top of the asphalt. We just have something that when they pull up the mat isn't gonna end up in engines, or crops or anything else.
Yeah, so I drafted the lease in a way that the improvements stay with the airport, so the mat would stay there. And again, the mat is a type that it gets anchored down. And this is not a location that I would say is suitable to put an aircraft. This is just additional space for things like fire trucks. We have helicopter dollies and other things of that nature that could potentially use that space if Zero Avia was not using the space. And again, we may have to reevaluate this on an ongoing basis, because if, let's say, our largest hangar, if that were to get a tenant with a very large aircraft, it could change the wingspan, trying to come down onto the apron, right? So there's a give and a take here. Our current apron is set up as a small aircraft apron. It's meant primarily for little Cessnas and gliders to move around on the apron. So if we get a bigger aircraft coming, that's certainly an issue to that bigger hangar, right? So that hangar is big enough to accommodate something like a Gulfstream 5. So now you're talking about tip to tip 100 to 110 foot wingspan. Well, you have a physical limitation where the pavement exists today, the layout of the taxiway over to the existing Aris buildings. So you do have some physical limitation as to what could come onto that end of the ramp anyway. So So again, this is meant to try to help out one of our perceived to be good tenants, and their hydrogen production or their hydrogen storage. It happens inside of a DOT approved trailer for containment. So anytime that there's hydrogen there, it's going to be in that containment trailer, so that's a DOT Department of Transportation rated safety trailer.
I
So-
just want to remind the commissioners that this is time for commissioner reports. We've already discussed that item. We made a motion. If you have any other comments or questions, you can certainly submit them to the airport director. Do we have any other commissioner reports?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just super quick. I know it's been a while since we had a meeting, but this summer was very active. Again, I want to say thanks to everyone that was involved with the 4th of July show. Using the airport kind of exposed the community to go out to the airport, to go to Sea Breezes and just be out there and really see what it's all about. And kind of actually there were some folks that paid attention to the conditions and stuff of the building. So I know once it comes back, at least the community can actually see, the need for that, right? Because we are having folks go out there, and just a big shout out because of the collaboration with the County Express, right? Getting people bussed out there and Parks and Rec. It was just great. And I got a lot of great feedback on that. Also, just another comment, with all the fires going on, I know CAL FIRE, this is a prime space, because of the weather for, to tackle a lot of the wildfires. San Benito County, the Fire Council, Fire Safe Council did receive a grant from the state. I can't think of the number, but it was tens, thousands, hundreds of thousands for wildfire prevention. And so I believe that it's through the CAL FIRE grant system. And so we're going to be receiving, San Benito County, in addition to neighboring counties, are going to be receiving, grant and help to not just help with wildfire prevention, but educate the community. As went to a couple of meetings that the San Benito Land Trust put on last week in Tres Pinos and Paisinas out at Jefferson School. And so, but it was very well attended just to help out folks. And again, it comes back to the airport because it's very active. CAL FIRE was actually bringing in their CAL FIRE planes during the 4th of July show. A lot of kids thought that was part of the show. No, they were actually busy working to tackle those fires. So I just wanted to say thanks because a lot of folks reaching out to me as a commissioner to see how they can help. And I just let them know we can reach out to our director, but it's up to, the professionals up in the sky. So I just wanted to really let you know that we are receiving help on the state side as well. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other reports?
Yes, for my report, I continually try to look at opportunities either on the airport or around the airport to bring new ideas, new thoughts, maybe even new revenues to the airport. And I'm happy to say that we actually have, on September 4th, we have our first meeting with Gavilan College to look at some opportunities that would allow them to move their aviation program from San Martin over to Hollister. It's preliminary, it's our first meeting, but let's keep our fingers crossed that we present well to them and that they see it favorable. And as Gavilan starts to bring more things to Hollister and obviously remain in Gilroy, but bring more things to San Benito County and as it leaves Santa Clara County. So we'll report back on how that went at our next meeting, but that's on September 4th.
Any other reports? Thank you for that, commissioners. They're great feedback and comments. I appreciate it. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.